Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva, episode number 100. If this was years, it would mark the century of The Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva, if it were years. But it's episodes. 100 episodes. And I have to say, it came by much quicker than I thought. It doesn't really feel that I'm pushing 2 years of doing this podcast. 2 years, and I believe I've only missed 1 week. I'm pretty sure I've only missed 1 week, which is, I think, pretty good. I mean, people can, talk about how consistency is very important. Some people say that, if you do a thing for this many days, weeks, months, now years, it becomes a habit. Well, I've been doing this for nearly 2 years, and it's become a habit that I greatly enjoy. Busting out the mic, getting ready, setting up, and just spitting the shit. Oops, I cursed, my bad. I'm pretty sure the rule is still, you can't curse on YouTube. Isn't that kind of funny, though? Isn't that funny? How you could make a video on YouTube with pretty much, whatever you want. You just can't have cursing. They're very, very sticklers about cursing. And if you hadn't noticed it, if you go onto any YouTube video, let's say it's by, someone big, a big YouTuber, a big content creator, and pretty much everything is bleeped out or censored that is a profanity or a curse word. Because I'm pretty sure that the algorithm on YouTube is anti-cursing. Everything's got to be meant for kids because children are browsing YouTube and you got to make everything kid-friendly. I think that kind of sucks for the creator because then you got to go back and add beeps and censor everything, just because, the fact that there's people watching, I guess they can't monetize it that well unless it's, child friendly. Kind of sucks. I thought that that's what the internet was made for. YouTube was made for that. It's not, doesn't really have to abide by the rules of, TV or the SEC or the FCC, whatever it's called, that you can't have cursing until a certain time of the day, I think. I'm pretty sure if you have curse words in a movie or a TV show, you're going to bleep those out until a certain time of day if you want to broadcast that, whatever that content may be, on TV. Whether that be cable or satellite, whatever the hell you use, pretty sure it's all got to be censored, Which is weird because I thought the internet was like a scapegoat. It was like an escape for that. But now it's become even more of the same. More of the same and not much different than TV. There's been some, not really rumblings, but actually stuff already happening. And it's kind of crazy because this is kind of old news, but I kind of just remember when I was remembered it this week and just talking to my family about it. It's kind of weird, but it's also kind of about time. And it's the fact that the NFL Sunday Ticket's going to be moving from DirecTV to YouTube or Google. I can't remember. It's I believe it's YouTube is going to be getting, Google owns YouTube, so going to be moving to Google, and they're going to exclusively have the NFL Sunday Ticket. Now, in my eyes, I am actually happy about this. For one, because I love YouTube. YouTube is one of my most consumed media platforms out there, more than Netflix, more than Disney Plus, more than HBO Max, more than anything out there. It just is. When it comes to content, I prefer, the more, I guess, like, realish type content than scripted, even though I'm a big fan of cinema and good TV. But if there's something like short and sweet to the point, some good old fashioned YouTube content, I'm sure as hell gonna consume it. I mean, I don't know if I'm in the minority or if I'm being outspoken, but I just feel like YouTube for some reason it just hooks you. So the fact that YouTube is going to be the new home of NFL Sunday Ticket has made me actually excited, because I don't know about you guys, but the TV packages for cable are some of the worst things that you could possibly have to deal with and have to choose for your TV viewing experience. I just want Sunday Ticket. When DirecTV had it, I was excited because I had DirecTV, and I was like, yes, we're going to get Sunday Ticket, and we could just add Sunday Ticket because I've never had it before. But you need to add the package. You have to have the right package that has Sunday Ticket. It's like, I don't want these other channels. I just want Sunday Ticket. Or they're like, no, you gotta have the package. Like, cable now just sucks, man. It truly does suck. There is a comfort to having it, to just have the TV on cable. It's comforting. It's traditional. It's something we all know. But let's face it, it's not better than YouTube TV, which I've heard is pretty good. I don't have it myself, but I've heard it's very, very good. And like Hulu TV, I've heard that those two are really good, and cable is just not good. But we have it anyway because it's comforting, and you're like, well, it's cable, we're supposed to have it, or it's a tradition to have it, or it's a classic thing to have. But the alternative option, which is streaming TV, YouTube, or Hulu, or whatever, is far superior. Everything I've heard is just like, this is just better in every way. And it is better. Like, when I stream NFL games on ESPN, or basketball games or baseball games on ESPN, I have no issues streaming those games on my TV in terms of connection, in terms of like, cutting out the picture quality, dipping. You get a couple little buffer areas, maybe the quality does drop a bit, but cable at its worst, when the weather is not so great, it's bad. I mean, DirecTV during rain or during wind or during like inclement weather of any kind is just not good. It's unwatchable. You're like, this is supposed to be state-of-the-art shit. This is DirecTV. They're supposed to be good, but this is just not it, man. It's just not it. And then you think to yourself, like, why am I paying for this? All these channels I don't even watch or I don't even want. I just want a couple of them. I pay for some shitty-ass service, and that's over $100, maybe even more than, like, a lot more than that, and it's just not even worth my time anymore. Cable's just not good. So when the NFL made the switch to YouTube TV, I was ecstatic. because now I could probably just get that and, have fun with that every year. It can't be as much as cable. I mean, if it is, Jesus Christ. But, I have to see how it is. It'd be a new thing. It would make me do it. And I feel like with this signing to Google and YouTube TV to be the exclusive home of NFL Sunday Ticket, it's just going to make people have to cut the cable. They've been pushing cut the cable for years, and years. But now I think that this move might be the nail in the coffin, at least for sports fans, to get YouTube TV and put an end to cable broadcast in terms of watching sports, at least, or at least football, at least that. And maybe with this switch, they realize, oh my God, this is so much better than I thought it would be, so much smoother. Why didn't we do this before? It could open the door to finally make streaming TV what it was always wanting to be, but never really truly got there yet. And I think with this acquisition by Google, as you get the Sunday Ticket, it's like, now we've got them. Now they're not going to leave because we're going to show them, besides the games, we got all this other shit. And we're just as good, if not better, than DirecTV and cable in general. So I'm, it's going to be cool for me, but you got the people that are older than me that still love cable, that keep cable. The older generation's like, I don't want to switch. Well, if you want to watch the NFL games, you want to watch Red Zone, you want to keep up with your fantasy teams and all the teams you want to watch, you're going to have to make that switch. It's like a hard, not like awakening, but it's like, this is how it's going to be. It's got to be a hard cut, a hard turn. This is the only way to do it. And hopefully people realize that this is just better. And I've personally not experienced YouTube TV, but from all the people that I know who have it, they say it's pretty damn good. I mean, we kind of were there this year when they made Thursday Night Football on Amazon only. I remember I told my dad that. He's like, what? It's not going to be on TV? I'm like, nope. It's going to be on Amazon Prime. I'm like, I'm going to give you my account so you can watch it. I mean, he doesn't even know how to access that. He doesn't know how to, but it's not that hard. You just got to read instructions. It's pretty basic. It's pretty simple. The older generation, and it's not just my father, but other people that I've experienced in life who need to know how to do stuff, and to be able to work technology today. They, for some reason, whether it's being rebellious, whether it's being I can't read it, or just the sheer I refuse to do this, is quite annoying. And for some reason, they just don't want to do that. They don't want to learn new technology. They don't want to upgrade. They don't want this. They don't want that. They want it simple. Which I agree. Simpler the better. But if they would at least take the time to read the instructions on how this thing works, I guarantee you they will learn it. They will pick it up pretty quickly. There really is no other thing I need to say about that. Just read the instructions and you will learn how to do it. I don't understand what it is about this generation that can't seem to read a screen that is lit up for you. I mean, we have gone to the point where, phone companies are catering to the older generation's needs with fonts and text-to-speech functions. Like, I've seen people's phones with gigantic fonts because apparently they can't read normal text. I mean, I understand that some people don't have very good eyes, but even with glasses, you can't. I mean, like, I just don't understand. Maybe it's because I'm still, quote unquote, younger, so I don't really know that pain, that anguish, or that absolute dismay or sense of loss that these people experience, because I guess I need to walk a day in their shoes to see how they actually feel about technology nowadays, because I can't seem to grasp the idea of I don't understand. Please help me, when the instructions are right in front of you. You know? I don't understand. I've told people when they get new phones, play with it, tinker with it, look up stuff. There's an app on there that's called Tips. Read the tips. I told you about it. Check it out. Next time they show up, it's like, well, how do I said, I told you to read the tips. Do not listen to me. I mean, this is just a repeat of my life. I remember my parents would tell me to read the instructions on how to do your homework. I'd be like, I don't understand. They read it like, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. Why can't they do the same when I tell them how to use their phone? I just don't understand. Do you really want to go back to a pen and pencil or a pen and paper? Is that what you want? Because you don't even do that. You'll still use your phone. You'll use about maybe 25% of its functionality, and the rest you'll just pretend like I can't. It's like a barrier. It's like an impenetrable barrier that their brain cannot leap over. And I don't know what that is, or why that's in their brain, or why they just shut off like that. All they gotta do is be curious, tap around their phone. Like I said, read the tips. It's pretty simple. It's right there. You just gotta read it. You have to just read it. Maybe tap next, and then read the next page of instructions. It's not that hard, really. It really isn't. It can be daunting at first, but I find out that people have been living with this device in their pocket for God knows how long, and they don't even know how to use it still. It's insane. It truly is insane. But, you know, that's just, I guess, the way it is. The way that it always kind of has been. You know, back in the day, people didn't understand why kids of that era listened to the music that they listened to. They didn't want to understand it. This is just a new wave and a new era of that type of I don't understand mentality. I mean, I'm no different either. In ways, I'm exactly like the generation above me with technology. But for me, it's lingo, slang, and internet trends or internet memes. I used to be well tuned in, well versed, well cultured in memes back in the 2010s. Up until like maybe 2019, I was very into internet memes, trends, and all that stuff. I really was. I used to be on iFunny. I'm now on Reddit, which I don't really check out a whole lot of memes. I kind of just use it for like news and stuff like that, which probably isn't the best way to get your news. But does anybody really have a good tip on how to get news? I'm not going to subscribe to the New York Times to get full-on articles. I just don't want to do that. You understand? I value that $1 a week or $1 a day or whatever it is for the New York Times. I value that with my life. I don't want to do that. I'll use Reddit. Reddit kind of has more, by the way, more interesting headline stuff than I think that the New York Times does. Anyway, I first heard of the term rizz maybe about a couple months ago. Rizz. One of my friends used it. He said, I believe, this is what he said, I got rizz, or you don't have rizz, something like that. And my brain nearly collapsed of confusion because I didn't know what that meant. I had no idea. I said, what is that? Is that like swag? Like he has swag, or I have swag? Because I'm familiar with swag. Swag is like you're cool. You're really cool. I believe it's like that. So I was thinking, okay, rizz is just the new version of swag. But it wasn't that. It wasn't that. It's only up until like maybe 2 weeks ago where I actually figured out what rizz meant. It just means you have charisma. They just shortened charisma to rizz. That's all it was. And I was thinking, like, before I figured out the origin, I'm like, this is new, but it sounds like it's new. It sounds like nothing I've ever heard of before. I guess it's creative. I guess it's like you can catch on. I guess it'll catch on. It's a quick, fast-saying word. It's kind of cool. Like, the word itself is kind of cool. So, hey, I mean, like, okay, maybe the younger generation is onto something that I just am not aware of yet. That's kind of cool. But then I heard the origin is just the middle part of charisma. I mean, it's not that original. It's not that cool. It's kind of lazy. And it doesn't really make all that much sense. I mean, you have to explain to people the origin of rizz. You're going to get a bunch of people being like, well, you just kind of just stole charisma and made it something else. You're not that original. You stole a word and made it your own. I mean, not really stealing it, but like taking two parts of the word out and leaving the middle part in, and that being the word. I could not really wrap my head around of how that was not just created, but how that was just accepted amongst people. But then again, the only people that use that word are the younger generation. And as long as it sounds cool, it doesn't matter where it came from. It will be adopted, and it will be in the culture, and it will be okay to use, because as long as it sounds cool, it's going to stick. You know, I mean, as much as I don't use it, I don't really care for it, I see the appeal of using that word. It sounds cool and hip, I guess. That's kind of dating me, just saying hip. But that's just kind of like how we are in the world now. One trend, one thing, one word, something will catch on. And it will continue for as long as it can. As long as we can keep it going. As long as we can maintain the usage. If rizz will never die until people start to think that it just has lost its meaning, which I don't think it will, because if it definitely is from the origin is charisma, which is a real word, it's not going to die anytime soon. But back to the meme part. The meme part, you know, I grew up in the age of rage comics and Bad Luck Brian's and Velociraptor and Scumbag Steve. And while I wasn't the biggest fans of those memes in particular, being Scumbag Steve and Bad Luck Brian, I was a big fan of Rage comics because whoever made them, whoever animated or drew those pictures of the Rage comics and put in real life scenarios in those comics, it was a way of expressing how you truly felt about situations that were so relatable that's why I think that they caught on so well as they did. Because if you don't go for those sometimes hideous looking images or obscure and sometimes weird looking images in the Rage comics, if they aren't as outlandish as they are, I don't think that Rage comics has that big of an impact as we think it does, because they put in the comics such relatable incidents in life in general that is how we see it. It's so weird because it's almost as if the Rage comics unlocked true reaction to situations that we can't make in real life, but our brain sees it and thinks that is totally how I feel. If you kind of agree, if you can kind of see where I'm coming from. Like, there's no way we're going to make the same reaction as a Rage comic does. Their body probably can't even do it. The faces, the eyes, it just can't do it. But our brain sees that in the context of the scenario, and we're like, 100%, that is how I feel about that situation. It's quite incredible if you think about it. It's weird, but it's true. I don't know how the creator thought of it, and I don't know how I don't know how it caught on so well, but it did. Now those are gone. Those memes are done and dusted. They had their glorious days in the sun back in 2011, 12, 13. Those days were amazing days, creative, artistic days of Rage comics and expressing real life and scenarios and putting them into forms of art. And now we're all about GIFs, clips, and videos. The artistic side is kind of gone, if you think about it. One of the biggest memes now, I think, that I've seen, that my friends have introduced me recently to, is a scene in The Walking Dead between Shane and Rick Grimes. And I think it's Rick Grimes is trying to tell Shane that the situation that they're in is that they're lost and like they can't get back home or something like that. And I'll try to recite it of how it is. It might be terrible, but I'll give it my best shot. So it's Rick walking up to Shane. Shane is talking to Rick like, you think you know the rules or how things work or something like that. And then Rick hits him with like, there are no rules, man. We're lost. And every single thing, every video of that is a shitty green screen of them in the meme. But like, say like the situation in the text of the video is like, you in a parking lot, you and your best friend at the age of 7 in the parking lot looking for your mom. And it's like, it works so well because the expressions, the way the lines are delivered between Rick and Shane mirror how kids would feel and have felt in that situation, and the intensity, and the fact that the clips that are used are not HD, they're pretty shitty quality. It adds a comedy of not just like the comedy of like the scenario, but the quality of it being so poor, it almost kind of feels like it belittles the situation because it's so bad, the quality at least, and like makes it so relatable in that way, if that makes sense. It's a weird thing that has happened in the meme culture. It's shifted so rapidly within this past decade from, like I said, just stills of memes, rage comics, short videos, and now just, green screen videos with text above. And even GIFs. GIFs are like super popular now. Back then you would send a rage comic to express something like that. Now you would send a GIF or even just a picture of how you feel in that situation, like, or you're like trying to portray how you're reacting to a situation. I guess the point I'm trying to make is that in these past 100 episodes, I have seen a lot of stuff trend, rise and fall, good or bad, good for mankind or bad for mankind. In a way, I see memes as a good thing for mankind. They relieve stress, they're entertaining, they allow you to have fun. If you make them, you're creative, you're creating something that hopefully no one else has created. A true form of art. In a way, to make you laugh. Memes make people laugh. There is comedy within these memes, and the craftsmanship behind these memes is mostly from a mind that loves comedy and finds the funny things in something that should not be funny. Like that, The Walking Dead meme that's going on right now, like I said before, those episodes aired like what, maybe 8 years ago, maybe even more. Like there's no reason for The Walking Dead to be getting memed right now. There is no reason whatsoever. The only reason is that the culture wasn't at the point that it is now back then to realize the comedy that it has today. We had to catch up. We had to gradually get to the point where we can make the "we're lost" meme into a thing. We weren't there yet. It's like a caveman who saw 2 sticks and a stone, or 2 rocks and some wood. At that point, when he first sees it, he's like, "Oh, look at this. 2 rocks and a stick and some wood. Cool, I have this." And then years pass, and he decides to clank those rocks together to make a spark and to create fire. That's what happened with the Walking Dead meme. It was right in front of our face. We saw it for what it was. It only took the evolution of multiple years to pass to see what it really could be. Its potential and what it could do for society in making people laugh at something that wasn't meant to make you laugh. But we created it to make it laugh, to make us laugh. That's the beauty of the human brain. That's the beauty of humanity. It might take us a little while to get there, but we will get there. And when we do, it's going to be so rewarding. You think of that caveman when he first created fire from 2 rocks and some wood that he just thought were wood and rocks. No, there was something deeper. Something deeper, something with more meaning, and something that only time would tell of what that truly meant to the formation of humanity and the formation of memes is what time allows, when the passage of time allows our brains to cook up things. Truly, it's truly the work of magic. Now, whether that was, why it took so long, we have no idea. Why did it take so long for the cavemen to create fire? We have no idea. Maybe it's just the way the world works. You just have to dig deeper. There was just something deeper in that moment that we needed more time for our brains to create something that should have been done a long time ago, but we just didn't have the tools to do it then. We do now. And by God, I hated this meme when I first saw it. I truly did. My friends was just spamming it in the group chats and in Discords. And I'm like, what is this? What are we doing? The Walking Dead? Who gives a fuck? I don't give a fuck about Rick Grimes or Shane. This show was trash. It ended badly. Or I didn't see how it ended, but I dipped out like after the 3rd season. I'm like, this is horrible. What am I doing? What are we doing? Why? But then it grew on me. And I was just like, oh, they have something here. They've done something. This is a work of genius. So, and I resisted. I said no. But as much as I resisted and said no, it has gotten the best of me. And my God, this meme is hilarious. My God, it has taken over my life. I didn't want it to, but it has. It really has. I find enjoyment now. I think it's just because the sheer seriousness of that scene and in that show and putting it in a situation that is not in dire seriousness, the way it's made, it truly is comedy gold. And whoever created it, I tip my hat because it truly is something to behold. And, the fact that it took this long, I can't believe it, but I'm just glad it's here. I'm happy that it happened. I'm happy that I was around to witness what it is. And I'll just leave it at that. Moving on to sports. I haven't really talked a whole lot about sports lately in a while, so I'm going to dive deep in right now. I'm going to dive deep into the NFL news. Well, I don't know. I guess I'll bring it up because it's such a big talking point right now. If you hadn't already heard or haven't seen, at the time of this taping, by the way, at the time of this recording, what had transpired on the night of Monday Night Football, what has happened. If you haven't noticed, if you hadn't seen, Bill's safety, Damar Hamlin, suffered a cardiac arrest on the field in the first quarter of the Bills-Bengals game. And to my knowledge at this point, he is still in critical condition, and there hasn't been that many updates at the moment. Just to save, myself right now, I'm going to look up updates right now, at this moment, just so I don't get in trouble. Let's see. It seems that he is still in critical condition after suffering from a cardiac arrest of on the field, and is showing improvements in his condition, which is a good thing. Thank God, it's fantastic. I was watching the game live because the Bills, the Bengals. It was supposed to be a great matchup, and it had all it had all the elements of an instant classic game. And it was an instant classic so far. I mean, it was a good game before what happened. And it was, two of the best teams in the AFC, with the best records, best quarterbacks, Josh Allen and Joe Burrow, going to go head to head. And, it just, I remember watching it, man, because I was watching it. Damar Hamlin just gets hit in the chest, kind of looks like a routine tackle, and then he gets up and then he just collapses. And in that moment, I'm thinking, like, because I saw the replay, and I saw, like, they cut to, like, a commercial break, when they have, like, big injuries, like concussions, bad ankle, knee, whatever it is, bad injuries, right? They cut away in, like, some, like, with, like, an injury music type thing, it's kind of somber. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman were like, we'll be back. And then they came back from that break. And I had noticed that Joe Buck's voice had changed drastically. He went from his broadcasting sports voice to almost like a breaking news of a tragic event voice. I had never experienced that from Joe Buck in all my years watching sports than on Monday night. And I was like, oh no, something is wrong. And then they didn't re-show the injury that much, thank God. But they were showing, like, the teams were surrounding Hamel on the field. And they had the medical team come out, not just for the team's medical team, but like the ambulance and then the first responders. They came out, and then I'm like, oh shit, what happened? And I was just like, this is so bad, this is terrible. What is happening with him? Like, what has happened? Surely at that point, you would think that they would tell us, like, what happened to Hamel. They had no information. They weren't relaying really anything at all. They go to another break. They come back. And then they showed, like, the team's reactions. They showed Stephon Diggs, like, pretty much crying. And Josh Allen, like, in disbelief. His hands over his mouth, like, and his, like, eyes wide. Like, not like he didn't know what he saw, or what he saw was not like any typical injury that they see in the NFL. Like, it shook these guys to their core. And at that moment, Damar Hamlin, I believe, was essentially not breathing. His heart had stopped. They said that they were administering CPR for like 9 minutes to get him, his heart to start beating again, which is like, oh my God, how does that happen? Like, what goes on in your mind is like, oh my God. I mean, I'm sure, like, they thought that he was gone. Once they start to use CPR defibrillators, as much as we've seen them work, it's like, I bet in that moment, it's like, oh my God, Damar Hamlin might be gone. And that's what I thought too, because I saw the way he collapsed, and I saw, like, the reactions from the players' faces. I surely thought he was gone. I was like, no way. I just see a man die on Monday Night Football. I just couldn't believe it. It was shocking, and I didn't think I would feel that shocked, but I did. it wasn't because of like the way he really necessarily him falling down. It was the way everybody was reacting. Like they had just saw their teammate die on the field. And like I said, thank God he's still in critical condition at the moment, but showing signs of improvement, which is great at the time of this recording. But it was crazy to see. It was crazy, and I was wondering if they're going to be able to play the game. I was wondering that because as much as, the player's safety should always be number one in the NFL is also all about making money. Obviously, they're a business. So as this dragged on, right? It took so long for them even to get Hamill into the ambulance and then to get, to leave the stadium. After that, they just kind of, were like, deciding, I guess, rather they would play the game, if they were to play the game or not. And immediately, when I was watching it, I'm like, I was just refreshing my phone for someone to have details on Damar Hamlin's health. Is he going to be okay? Is he going to make it? Not just if he's going to be okay, but is he going to make it? And he wasn't even, I didn't even know the guy. I wasn't his teammate, but I was so concerned on if this man was going to make it out alive. And for those guys, the football players, the Bills and the Bengals, there's no way I thought that they would ever be able to play this game. Unless they knew that Damar Hamlin was fully conscious and going to make it, then yeah, probably they could probably get back out there and play. But if you don't know, if you have no like nothing on him, no updates, nothing, his life is literally in the balance. Like there was no way that they would be able to play that game. No way. Impossible. I was just like thinking like they better cancel this because this guy his life is in the balance. I mean, why is this even a question? And it was weird because, like, I think Joe Buck said, like, we've been told that the players have 5 minutes to kind of, like, regain their emotions and their thoughts and, like, get back into playing the game. And right as, like, that was said, like, Sean McDermott and Zach Taylor, the coaches of the teams, the head coaches of the teams, they got together and essentially said, like, we're not going to play because our players are mentally shooken up, like mentally fucked up. And I'm like, oh, thank God this is being seen and taken from the player's perspective, because there's no way that these guys are in the right state to play right now. It's impossible. Like, I don't care if like they're like, well, we got to play because there's we can't reschedule or whatever. It's like, dude, we almost just saw our teammate lose his life. Like, he essentially was not, his heart was not beating for so long. There's no way. And like, to this day, right now, we still don't know if he's going to make it. Hopefully he does. He's showing signs of improvement, like I've said. But it's like, no way. In that moment, in that minute, with no update, no response from Hamill, it's like, bro, that's impossible to do. That's the only thing I think, the only other situation I remember something like this was back in 2021 in the Euros when Christian Eriksen from Denmark just collapsed from a cardiac arrest as well. Just collapsed. And it was like the same reaction. Like the players were shooken up. They couldn't believe their eyes. They were like crying because Christian Eriksen at that moment was essentially dead. Like he was like gone at that moment. And it was only until, thank God the first responders there were able to bring that man back because he was a goner. And then it was a little bit different because there was pictures of Erickson, you know, clearly like awake and conscious like hours after it happened. Luckily his experience wasn't as bad as Hamill's. So it wasn't like still very, very, very shaken up. And they probably shouldn't have played that game either, I'll be honest, because they clearly still weren't in the right mindset in that game too. And thank God the NFL actually suspended that game, because if they didn't, it would show like a lack of like care, not only for like the player that went down, but like the current players that clearly were shaken up. Clearly, no one cared at all about that game at that moment, in those moments. It's like, at least the NFL or the coaches were like, nah, fuck this. This is bigger than football. I'm not gonna. My players are not going to. I don't want to. Have to continue when what we just witnessed nearly one of our teammates die. It's like, why? It's so silly. It's so stupid. The fact that it was even a possibility, if it was, to continue the game would have been stupid. Nobody wouldn't. It just would have been bad. I mean, like, we didn't get to see it. It's not like the NFL made them play, thank God. But I'm pretty sure if the NFL was like, no, you guys better play, it would have been horrible. It would have been horrible. But a crazy, crazy experience, man. Crazy thing to see on TV that I never would have thought I would have ever seen. No one expects that. I've never seen anything, well, besides the Christian Eriksen thing, but like, especially like after like a big hit like that, he got up, and then he just collapsed. I was like, whoa, what the fuck? This is bad. And kudos to everybody on the ESPN broadcast, who those guys were not expecting to have to broadcast essentially a person's life in the balance. Like, that was like that was news right there for ESPN. I mean, you could tell with Joe Buck's tone switching and all that, like, this was no longer entertainment. This was hard news. A player is potentially going to die. And though the ESPN really handled it well, from everybody from Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Booger McFarland, all those guys, Ryan Clark on SportsCenter. I mean, like, that was a tough situation from everybody that was involved on that broadcast. So, I mean, like, I know it's like a couple days old. It happened on Monday. I get that. But we're still feeling it. People are still feeling it. They're still feeling like the emotion that went through that, because you're not supposed to see that on TV. You're just not. That is a scary thing to see for anybody. And you don't even know. Like, I'm a neutral audience member. I'm not a fan of either teams, but it was wild. I didn't know anybody on those teams. I didn't know Hamill. It's weird. It's not something that you want to experience. And thank God that they were able to weather that storm of a tragedy and make it out of that. Because I don't know how anybody else would have handled that. It's a tough situation to be in, and I think that they were able to do it, navigate it in the most respectful way that you can when concerning someone's life might be at stake. So I hope that Hamill recovers, obviously, because that's what you want. Everybody's rooting for the guy. Everybody's rooting for you, Damar. Make it out alive. Make it out healthy as best he can. I don't even care if he plays football again. Just make it. Just please. It would be awesome if he were to just make it out of this in the best way that he can. Hopefully nothing is too messed up for him. I know he was like, it took them 9 minutes, and I don't know if like the length of that is going to like have repercussions on his health after that. It doesn't even matter. Honestly, football doesn't even matter now. I mean, if he wants to try to continue that, do it. But like, hopefully, he lives a nice life if he does make it out of this. Like I said, conditions are improving. We can only hope for the best. We can be optimistic. We have to be optimistic about this because everybody was touched by it. I think more people were touched by it and affected by it than we thought that it would have affected people. I mean, I saw like Aaron Rodgers talk about it and other NFL players talk about it. It's like it really shook everybody because, it's a game that we love to watch. And me, I love to watch, and players love to play. But we have to really look at what it is. Is like this game, football, is violent. It is. You really have. I mean, when they sign up for it, man. I mean, like they are signing up to to get really not just hurt, but like seriously injured, if not life-changing injuries. I mean, it's not the first one too. I mean Ryan Shazier was essentially paralyzed from a bad tackle that he made. And he's been gaining back that functionality of walking slowly but surely. But like, I mean, like something like that can happen just at a split second, man. It's just like it puts you into perspective of like this sport is really like all it takes is one bad play, one bad tackle, man, and it's potentially over, And it also kind of puts like ACLs, ankle sprains. Those are like nothing now. I mean, like sure they're career altering. Like it'll probably slow you down, but like those serious ones like head, neck, and now heart. It's like whoa, like this is. I mean, like, how do we improve it? How do we make the game safer? Is there anything that we can do to make it safer? I think we've done so much already to make it safer that there's no way really to prepare for these type of freak accidents. I mean, the way that he was hit, I've heard that there is like a specific time where if you do get hit in the chest at it can lead to a cardiac arrest. Like I think like it's either like mid beat or some type of thing. I'm no expert on this. I'm just kind of like repeating what I've heard, but I've heard it's happened to like other people in other sports where like they get contacted in that chest area at a specific time, and it does like the same type of thing. It's rare, but it does happen. Like I said, it's more of a freak thing, but it's something that you never want to see, and you do have to prepare for it. You should. We need to have like that type of medical response at like everything like that, because to be honest, if we didn't have that, he would have been gone. If we didn't have the people that are trained that well to respond that quickly, he might not be here right now. He might not be improving his condition. He might be gone. And then what? Then what do we do? Then what? Then what happens? Then what's the next move? It's just we got to take we have to take what we have for granted, that we have people on the sidelines of these sporting events that are ready at the drop of a hat to assist in medical attention as quick as possible and as efficient as possible as these guys are. Because like I said, if they're just like a little bit late, man, who knows? And that's got to be at everything. Everything from high school, middle school, even elementary, all the way to professionals. We got to have those medical professionals got to be there. They have to be there. The worst thing you want to do is watch someone lose their life from a sport that they love to play. He loved football. He loved playing football. He was a competitor. Played it all his life. Damar went to Pitt. Is on the Bills at the age of 24 too. He was 24 years old. You think, not to bring the show down, but it's like, yeah, let's just think about what we have right now at this moment. what we are grateful for. The NFL players are grateful for playing the game that they love. They're able to provide for their families in ways they probably never imagined by playing the game that they love. Unfortunately, the game that they love can have major consequences. And we just gotta, take what we have, be thankful for what we have, and hope and pray and hope that we can avoid that type of situation and issues forever. I never want to see that again. That's not something that is easy to digest. It definitely shakes you. It shakes you, no matter who you are. It's just like it's not something you ever want to see. Like I said, seeing those guys in tears, it's like you can't help but feel that. I mean, I was kind of getting choked up watching the game, watching what was happening. I was like, oh my God, like I'm feeling this right now. Like this is rattling me. He cannot die. Please God, he can't die. And, it's just like, but that's the game. It's a violent game, man. It's a violent game. It's a violent game. I don't know what we're going to do. How we can improve. It's very violent now, but it's definitely not as violent as it used to be. We're making good strides, good steps. I think the best thing that we can do is keep up with the safety procedures and stick to them. Stick to them as much as we can and make it as safe as possible. It's a hard task to do, but I think that if they keep up with those safety measures and updating helmets and updating pads, updating ways to tackle, while still being able to be competitive and fun and entertaining, that's the best they can do. That truly is the best they can do, and improve safety measures and improve all that stuff, improve equipment, all that. Other than that, there's not much we can do. People are still going to play football. People still love to play football, But I don't know. I'm just happy that he's at least improving his condition at the time of this recording. Thoughts and prayers to Damar Hamlin. Thoughts and prayers. That's going to be it for today, folks. That's going to be it for today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you choose to like and subscribe, I appreciate that. Don't forget to do that. Rate and review as well. That helps out a lot. Helps out the podcast. Share with your friends. Share with your families. Do all that good stuff. Leave comments. Leave suggestions. Anything is on the table. It's episode 100 now in the books. Now on to the triple digits. We'll see how all this goes. How this is all going to shake up. Anyways, people, thank you for listening and thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next week.